Okay, Pete, is the word from the control room that we are looking for. That means it must be 8 p.m., 8 p.m. sharp on a Saturday night. You stumbled across a couple of guys spreading our passion and enthusiasm for the world of RC. This is the Radrc Show. Welcome to Saturday Night Live. My name is Mike, owner, CEO of Carryallrc. If you haven't heard of us, go check us out at carryallrc.com. More to come on that later. We are live tonight in the doghouse. If you're asking yourself right now what RC is, this is when we tell you, we apologize. Your algorithm for YouTube has steered you wrong. RC, if you don't know, scroll along. This show is not for you. But maybe you're a repeat customer coming back for more. Thank you. We encourage you to hit that bell, subscribe. It's what gets you qualified for all the good stuff. It's what gets you entered. It's what helps everybody know what when the newest videos pop up. So go hit the bell, subscribe. We encourage you to please do that. But no show is absolutely finished unless we do this proper intro. We need to pay the bills and keep the lights on. It is a two-man show. This is a tag team effect. And I am here tonight with none other than my man, my homie, my ride or die, the co-host with the mostest, Peter. How are you?
Hey, Mike, what's going on, man? Back Saturday, right? We're back at the original time slot. Good to be back. I know it's been a hell of a week, getting ready for Christmas, working on a lot of things, man. A lot going on. And in the chat room, we got Tyrone, Size Matters, Jan, our boy Jeff joined in. Mike, we approached over 300 subscribers. We're hanging at 315. We're getting closer to that 500 mark. Make sure you guys help us get to that 500 mark. We're giving away an FMS truck, the FCX. So help us get to that 500. Like, share, subscribe. Send it to everybody. We want to give this truck away so we can move on to the next contest. Also on Facebook and Instagram, like the Radrc Show. And also, Mike, if anybody out there ever wants to be a guest or has suggestions for upcoming shows, shoot us an email. We have an email address we monitor, radshow@gmail.com. Excited about today's guest. A lot of people out there know him. He's been in the industry. He's all over the map, a lot of popular stores, and excited to bring him on. But before we do, we want to thank our sponsors. Like you said, Keep the Electric On. These companies are great. Mike and I collaborate with them on a weekly basis, and they help give us content ideas for the show. Carryallrc, Treal Hobby, CowRc, Rebel RC, Crazy Crawler Foams, Powerhobby, 2.4 Designs, Crawler Cult RC, RC Misfits, Scalebychris, KNK Hradware, Adventure RC, Wesmade, RC Prorack, FMS, who's dropping things left and right. I can't even keep up, Mike. Race Place Hobbies and Remote Control Hobbies Orlando, our buddy RC Jesus, and Real Sticky. So, yeah, a lot going on, man. A lot of things dropping, and holidays are coming, Mike. And, I said no more micros. You look behind me. Just stuff going on, man.
Absolutely. I don't know if you caught me on Tuesday night. I stayed up late, a little past my bedtime, to go hang out with our boy Sergio from RC Cali Crawler on Instagram.
Yes.
We will isolate the clip from Tuesday night. What a great freaking show. Tis the season, my friend, the holiday season for giving. Holy crap. I could go on and on for an hour-long special just on that show. We're going to get Sergio on here very, very soon in near future, give him an opportunity to talk about what he's doing, but talk about giving. Everybody was one-upping each other, doubling their prizes. We went on to just go give a sling bag, say thank you. We ended up doubling it. We ended up helping out Skittles. we've been helping out Travis, and I mean, the list goes on and on. I've been donating bags to tons of people this month. Anybody that's doing something special for the kids or somebody in need, we piggybacked right on top of it and making sure we can do what we can. But the Cali Crawler show was special, so go check it out on Instagram. It was phenomenal. We had a great time doing it, and thank you to those guys for inviting Carryall and giving us an opportunity to join them. I do have a special guest with me tonight, Pete. You will notice it's not so blurry behind me tonight. I'm back on the laptop setup. I've got our boy up here. I forget his name. Oh shoot. The the mittens. They're the Democratic guy from Vermont. I forget his name.
Bernie.
My Bernie's here.
You brought Bernie.
The reason I forgot, I've been hanging out with Snoop on a stoop too long today. Me and him have been burning something all day long. So sorry, my brain's a little fried. But I brought Snoop. I got my elf on the shelf. So I'm happy to have a backdrop. I needed to get the lighting because we're gonna have a lot to talk about later on tonight. Dude, I got everything stacked behind me, all the cool stuff we've been getting with FMS, man. Poof, my wallet this week is light as a feather. So much cool stuff is dropping right before the holidays, man. It is out of control. I'm excited to take a closer look at that with everybody tonight. The stuff from Team DC that I bought earlier this month, we got that installed. We'll take a closer look at that. But like you said, Pete, we can chat about that towards the end of the show. Tonight's show, we need to step back and we need to open the spotlight for somebody that's been around the hobby for a long time. Like you said, Chris has been here. We'd like to see, brands that have been around and succeeding for a while. We knew right on, Pete, when we started the show, we're going on a 1 year anniversary pretty soon. We knew right away Scalebychris would be a perfect person for this. Give him an opportunity to maybe break his Facebook algorithm and maybe navigate some new waters here and touch some people that he might not necessarily be connected with. That's kind of hard to do when you're on A Main. I mean, if you don't know who A Main is, or you're not shopping on A Main, you got to be living under a rock. But you can also find Chris's stuff, I think, on the Rebel page. If I'm not mistaken, Pete, I swear I saw Scalebychris stuff on Rebel RC's page. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I did at some point. And Chris is connected. Tyrone Dunkley, we're messing around with his hometown boy now. And it's even more connected than that. If you look at the Scalebychris logo, I mean, that thing screams JRC. That has got a Judd Rummage signature all over it. It's so cool to see how all the different vendors are all helping each other, supporting one another, using each other's services to, just drive on harder, supporting one another. We love that vendor collab. Vendors helping vendors. That's what it's all about. If I do ramble a little bit, I'm a little off my game, Pete, because like I told you, we spent the day giving today, giving back to our community locally. I think we must be doing this 7 years now. We collect food for like a month. And I say we very, very loosely. This is really my wife. A big shout out to her and everything she does, even with everything that's been going on with her mom. I mean, it's just been a weird Christmas, but for her to take the time to coordinate and get all this stuff together, we're able to go set up at a local housing area with food and give back gift cards and just small gifts and feed them and just hang out, fellowship with local people in the neighborhood, literally bringing people to tears with joy. And that's what it's all about. So forgive me, I'm a little off, I'm a little tired. It's been a long day.
That's great, man. It's good to see that, especially the giving back. I know my wife tomorrow is going with my daughter to give presents to kids that aren't fortunate enough, so it's good to see giving back, like even in a hobby, Mike, like you and I, like if we talk about the RC hobby, I know me and you, when we go to events, I look forward to going to events with you because we always get parts. We always have stuff. I can't tell you how many parts I give away, how many parts you give away, how many things we swap. I remember the first time I met you, I think I gave away half my stuff, not because, I had to, because I wanted to, giving stuff to Dream or giving stuff, because that's what the hobby's about, right? I'm looking at parts above my camera here. Do I need it? Probably not.
Nope.
Can I make somebody else happy, that may need it? Absolutely, man. I'll be at any event like you, man. First person I see, remember when we were at White Rose, we saw Art giving away servos to kids and,
Oh,
like,
our hobby is
that
leads the
just
way.
makes the hobby grow, and seeing that kid's face smile just
Yep.
because he got something. It could be anything, so
No,
I have no problem. I like to give when I can, and makes the hobby great, not even a holiday, just year round,
and
But
yeah, good point, Pete. Now, Powerhobby will lead the way when it comes to that, and the stuff that they will give and give. It's fortunate to just be able to be a part of that, and why let it sit in our junk drawer if we can donate it or something like that. We're always happy to help where we can. And right now, today was about the local people in my town. I hope one day that Carryall will grow so big that it does become a household name. Right now, I'm a peon in my neighborhood. My life goal right now is to be at a high school football game in my neighborhood and have a banner and be able to, hey, this week's kickoff is sponsored by Carryallrc. I'm jealous of the local mom and pops in our town that can do that, but I mean, there's just not enough people wanting an RC backpack in my town. So it ain't
yeah,
happening anytime soon.
we'll get
But
there. We'll get there.
yeah, so we're having fun. It's the holiday season. We're giving any way you can. And I've heard it before. Sometimes if you don't got the money or the funds, or it's not about doing that, sometimes helping and supporting your friends is as simple as a share on Facebook. If you have a friend and maybe you can't support them, maybe you can't buy that product, maybe I can't afford, I don't know, a Boom Racing truck right now. But what the hell I could do is go on Boom Racing's website, share it on my Facebook page, share it in a story, any of that kind of content, and driving that and sharing another small businesses venture and what they're trying to do. That goes a long way. So, you might not be able to afford it now. Just give it a like and a share, comment. I mean, that kind of stuff helps. But enough about that, Pete. We're driving into this thing 10 minutes. That's a little longer than we usually go until we open up the door for our man. I want to give Chris some proper time tonight. I'm in the entire time Chris is going to be shopping, bro. I'm literally going the entire time Chris is talking. I will be shopping on his site. When we drove it up earlier, I'm like, I want that. I want that. I want that.
Yeah, let's bring him on. Yeah, he's got some great stuff, hands down. And there he is.
Bingo. Christopher, how are you, sir? Welcome to the Rad Show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
It is
welcome.
You are very welcome. It is our pleasure. For a couple of meatballs like us, we are very humbled to have someone like you. You are someone that's been around the hobby for a long time. You've made it. We love seeing your stuff all around on A-Main and whatnot. But let's give you some time to give us a proper introduction. We'd love to know, a little bit about backstory, all the good stuff. So tell us who you are, please.
All right. My name is Chris Prestwood. A lot of people know me as Scalebychris, SBC. My true friends call me Chris. Born in '84, makes me 38 years old. I'm the youngest of most of my RC friends. I've been touching into RCs for most of my life. Back in the '80s, when I was born, most of the stuff had cords on it still, unless you were hobby grade RCs. But growing up, we didn't have a bunch of money, but I was an only child, so I was semi-spoiled in the Christmas time. I had a few RCs growing up. I had like the Tyco Bandit that I remember. I had Radio Shack's yellow monster truck. That was the first good RC truck that I had. I've always dabbled in mechanics as far as taking things apart, putting things together, mostly taking things apart. Yeah, RC has been in my life for a while. My dad's a big motorhead, so I was wrenching pretty early. I was given tools by my grandpa when I was young, so I was tearing things apart. I built my first car with my dad to drive to school, basically my real car. And once I started getting older, I got a job, I got some money. I really was liking the RC thing, so I bought my first true hobby grade RC, which was a Lowe's Triple XNT, their nitro two-wheel drive truck. Loved that thing, drove it, broke it, fixed it, drove it. You know, the schedule goes, repeat, keep going. Got a little older, got into more of BMXing, so I stopped driving the RC car quite a bit. Then I figured out, hey, I can take this to the dirt jumps with me. So I started taking that to the jumps with me, and again, driving it, breaking it, fixing it, repeating it. I had a buddy who had a friend who had a T-Max for sale. Ended up buying that. And then I realized, oh, four-wheel drive is a thing in the RC world. And that's really where it took off from there. I drove those for a while. I tried to modify it into a rock crawler. Rock crawling started getting pretty big. It's been up and down for a while. I kind of got into it when it started getting big again, from like Axial was introduced. A lot of box companies were making cars that you could buy and drive. You didn't have to build so much stuff. And then I think it was around, I think it was like 2010, 2011. I had a buddy who had a modified AX10, highly modified. It was basically an AX10 transmission, but still the logistics of kind of the in-between comp and in-between scale. And he let me drive that a little bit while we were building the bumper for my pickup. And I fell in love with it, said I had to have one. So I treated myself on my birthday one year, and I bought an AX10 used off Facebook Marketplace. And it just snowballed into
Do you still have that today?
I have the parts, but I don't have the whole rig. I think I finally gave the body away to a really good friend, Chachi. Most people know him. He took the body. I still have the axles. I still have the frame rails. I think I still have all of the green links that it came with. I could resurrect it. I'm one that gets a hold of a lot of things and don't let things leave very often.
Okay, good.
All the time that I've been in this hobby, I've sold one RC car. And it was something I built. It was a tribute rig. I saved the body, but I let the rig go. But it showed up on the East Coast. It was at G6's. Parker himself saw the rig and says, I know that rig. I know who built that. That's awesome. So yeah, I have.
Do you know who has it?
I don't remember the guy's name. This was probably 5 or 6 years ago that I sold it.
Okay. I'm wondering if it was the guy who owns Dark Side 3D Printing. I wonder
Jason Matthews.
Jason, does that sound familiar?
I'm horrible with names.
All right. I'm just curious. We might, I mean, the G6, the fix, I mean, it's 20 minutes down the road. We probably would have seen it.
Yep. So yeah, it made an appearance in
nice.
And then he ended up selling it to another guy. He tried parting it all out. I almost reached out and just bought it back regardless of the price as a whole. Just because I'm that type of guy.
Well, the reason why I'm laughing is Mike knows this. I sold my Capra. I don't think I'm ever selling rigs again. The guy parted the whole thing out, man. I spent so much time on this and so much money, and and the next day it showed up in Facebook in pieces, selling axles, selling all different parts. And I'm like, I almost wanted to buy it back. One day I sold it and it was just parted out. I mean,
some people are
happens.
Out buying rigs and just parting them out and making the dollar on the.
It's like they can,
yeah.
But I can relate to what you're saying, Chris. I mean, we would much rather keep them sometimes instead of taking the loss. And when you put that kind of blood, sweat, and tears into a build, there, and heck, some of them end up making it in the pages of RC Car Action. If I sell a truck, it's coming with the RC Car Action article it appeared in.
Right.
There is just a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and sentimental value in them. And I, you know what? It's worth more to me to just keep it on the shelf. I'm not letting it go.
That's where I'm at. I'm looking at my shelf right now. I got a tribute rig that I built, replicating the truck that I learned to drive in when I was young.
Was this the truck that you built with your dad? That was the question I wanted to ask you when you were coming to 16. What was this first car that you built together?
So my first car that I ended up building, I think I was 15 years old. My dad said, "Hey, you want a car?" I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right, you can have the Chevelle."
Holy crap. What year?
Well, it was a 65 Chevelle, but it had a 64 front end on it. And when he drove it in the heyday, which I actually have memories of being bolted down in my car seat in the back seat of this thing, just climbing hills like a maniac. It was 4-wheel drive. It was a big, nasty 4-wheel drive. I mean, my dad's been a wrench head his whole life.
Wow.
I've thought of that. I've taken to scale just because of the cost of things.
Yep.
It's a price, but I can do a lot more in the RC industry.
Now,
So
forgive me if I'm wrong, but when I met you in, I might have been 2018, 19 at Proline by the Fire, was your father with you? Was he at your booth with you?
no,
No.
not at Proline by the Fire. The only events that my dad's really traveled with me to events with is Axial Fest. He went to my first fest with me. He went about every other year after that, and then a few years consecutive. And then he kind of kept it local. We did some local events. We'll travel down to like Butte County and do events. But he's never been to like the big Proline by the Fire.
Okay.
Never been to a Fire and Ice.
But he's still supportive and attends some events. It's fantastic to see the father-son and the family support helping getting behind what you're doing.
When I got real deep into this, he got an interest in it as well, because he saw, hey, I'm wrenching, I'm building, I'm doing cool things at a fraction of the cost of doing it in real life, real cars. And it was awesome. They say your parents aren't your best friends until you get older, and my dad is my best friend. We camp with him all the time. He RCs with us. My kids love him as well as their Nona. But yeah, it's a really cool thing to be able to connect in the hobby and do this with my dad. So
that.
As much as we do it.
I love it. I can totally relate. I think I remember that gap from 12 to late 20s. There was a big disconnect there, especially in the early teens, where dad just dropped me off 2 blocks from school. I'll walk, like you just don't want to be around. And then the shady years, when I'm hiding the drugs and the party and like walking right past them. Hey, you don't want to see me right now. Go up and crash in bed and, hung over the next morning. There's a whole lot of disconnect, and it's great to have us all come back together. And like you said, now I can talk freely with my dad, and he's supportive and in the corner. I can completely relate, Chris.
You both learn a lot about each other when you get older. I will say that for sure.
Yep. The Cats in the Cradle, the Harry Chapman song always gets me. They'll tear me up every time.
Right on.
Yeah, Chris, this is fantastic. We are so super duper excited to have you here with us. And when was it? I think I cut you off somewhere in between here. And if you, like you said, you watched 4 shows before. I'm notorious for cutting people off. Forgive me. You were probably about ready to get to the point where you were going to start 3D printing somewhere. When do you start getting into 3D printing?
So like I said, I've been pretty mechanical my whole life, hands-on type of guy. I did 4 years of drafting, so I did the whole pre-engineer thing of designing something before you create something. I was going to become an engineer, an electronic engineer. I decided school wasn't my thing once I got out of high school. Went to work at a wrecking yard, tearing things apart, which was awesome, hands-on still. And then as my love for RCs continued, the industry started opening up to 3D printing. I knew Jason Hoy of HoyFab. He was who I thought was Mecca at the time as far as 3D printing. He had that market on lock. He was the first in the door. Really seemed like he had a thing going there. And I'm like, hey, I can afford one of these 3D printers. You know, I'll do a little side work. I'll do a little hustle, make a little extra dough. I'll maybe buy myself a cheap printer. I think my first printer was $400, and it was what was it? A CCC, I think it was, or a CC. It was like a Flash Forge knockoff, which at the time was even a MakerBot knock. So it was the wood cased one. It's actually sitting up above me. That's the original print. I still have it. It's dead. It's become parts. I bought one of those, and I'm like, hey, I can do this. I want to make my own stuff for my rigs. Because at that time I was getting to the point where I was not necessarily just modifying rigs, but I was building things. So I was cutting chassis. I was welding tubes. I was creating bumpers. I was doing everything that I saw everyone in the industry creating a job out of it. And I'm like, I can do this, which 9 times out of 10, when you give people your prices on your products, they're like, well, I know so-and-so that can do it for way cheaper. I oblige that. If you can do it, do it. That's where it got me to this day, is hands-on, wanting to have my own thing, doing my own thing. So bought a printer, started printing some cool accessories. At that time here in Shasta County, far north California, we had a couple RC groups that started getting big as far as having events with upwards of, I think, our anniversary crawls for the NorCal Crawlers. We broke 150 people at it. So everyone was getting into it. We had a big following. Our hobby shops were banging in town at the time. We had 2 good ones. So there was readily vehicles and parts available. And you know how it goes. You get one, your buddy wants one because he thinks it's cool. So as it grew and I started making things, people on trail were like, hey, well, where'd you get that ice chest? It's like, well, I made that. And they're like, well, that's cool. Can you make me one? I'll buy it. And I'm like, sure. I was like, I don't know, $5. Yeah, I'll take one. Okay. So then I started buying more colors. I started printing more products. I started designing. I think my first few designs were a jerry can, a small ice chest, and then I made a chainsaw, a very generic chainsaw. And I actually kind of modeled that chainsaw after a Walmart toy that I bought. And I'm like, hey, that's a pretty simple design. I can make that. And at the mecca of the chainsaws, 30 to 40 of them were leaving my door a day, headed out to the hobby shop. Wow. So as I started creating more things, I started creating a product base. I started showing up to what I called my local group, NorCal Crawlers events, popped an easy up. I'd put a table out there. I'd have 3 or 4 colors of probably 7 or 8 items available at the time. And I just nickel and dime it before the event and after the event. And I realized, hey, this is a thing. People want this stuff. And I had the ability to make just about anything. I wasn't taught any kind of CAD. Everything that I have done as far as 3D design is all self-taught with my drafting background, which was really in a 1D, sometimes a 2D plane. But dimensions and measuring and the actual layout of things is very similar in CAD. CAD's like sculpting as far as adding and subtracting shapes. So I was already in line with that. So I tell people, if you can think it, I can make it.
What kind of software are you using? Is this like a Thingiverse thing or Tinkercad? Like, what kind of software do you use to CAD design?
So my first software I was using was Tinkercad, which is web-based, which to this day I hate all web-based softwares because you're at that server, and they're usually only so good because you are still using a web-based server type of deal. Like my jerry cans to this day are still a Tinkercad file that I have actually just modified with a updated logo because I print my logo into them now. But with the Tinkercad, anyone that's beginning, it's great. I highly recommend trying it. You can self-teach yourself how to use 3D CAD with Tinkercad because, like I said, it's like cookie cutters. You're adding and subtracting shapes. The only mercy that you're at with Tinkercad is the polygons out of it. Everything's very sharp lined, and when it prints and you try to print a circle, it's not a smooth circle. It's kind of got jagged edges to it because you're it's like a bit rate thing. You're at the mercy of what it exports in. From there, I started looking into other softwares. A lot of people were telling me Fusion 360 and SolidWorks is the way to go. I tried Fusion 360 a little bit. I ran my free trial out in it and realized it was quite a bit more than I needed. So then I found free software. It's 123D Design by AutoCAD. And it had so many glitches in it, they actually discontinued the software, so you can't find it anywhere now. So basically, once my computer crashes or something happens and I lose it, or I buy a new computer, I'll be having to make that transition to Fusion 360, which I actually hold a full-time job outside of this RC industry. 3D printing was kind of a side job thing just to fund the hobby, because once you start building things, you're like, oh, well, I want to buy this. And everyone knows Vanquish was really nice stuff, but it was really expensive. So I started 3D printing stuff, started selling stuff, started doing direct orders with people. I opened a PayPal account. I was funding builds. And that was the main thing behind it, was I wanted to be able to buy and build whatever I wanted. And it came hand in hand. I could build something and then I could create a product for it. And I could almost make that build pay for most of itself. And then it was, oh man, what was it? I think it was 2015, 2016. I traveled quite a bit. I'd been going to Reno quite a bit for RC events like G6s, Fire and Ice, NV Bashers, all those guys had events. I would travel over there and do those. I had accumulated a couple friends that I almost like family to me today, Elio Dionda and Adam Dean, 2 Chain Scalers. Most people know those guys. They're all about giving back to the future of our industry.
100%. Like
they
solid, entertaining guys. Like, you know, when they're at an event, they're bold.
They're in the shop.
Good people.
They were pretty close with Jason at CKRC and his wife, Dina. They introduced me to them, and we kind of talked business a little bit. And I was like, you know, I'm looking to get my products retail. I'm to the point now where I'm at a production rate. At that time, I think I had 4 printers all running. And at that time, I was up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, just really enjoying watching the printers and creating new product, and excited with where this was going, because it was turning into something that not just funded my hobby, but was going to become another income. So at that time, I had 1 kid, and things were awesome. I got into their retail shop. Jason Hoy was in there at the time with Hoy Fab. His products were one thing, my products were another. I try not to make something that somebody else is already making. I try to venture out and make things different, as far as like, if you're making a Yeti ice chest, I might make a Coleman ice chest. I just try to keep it fresh. I have a lot of people that come to me and want me to make something, and I already know someone else has got that on lock and is making it way better than me. I'll actually refer them over and say, hey, tell them SBC sent you.
But Jason always did a good job kind of coming up, or vice versa. You guys always came up with a way to come up with the other brand. And to recognize what Hoy was doing back then. What he had at that point was this logo that, like, at the time was so freaking catchy. Like, it just stood out. The Hoy Fab logo just boom, caught your attention, and I could see why you would recognize and look that direction and respect that right out of the gate. He looked like he already made it right out on day one as soon as he came out with that logo.
Well, and it's funny because as I came into the retail side of it, he was on his way out, as far as he was already venturing for that next step. And I don't know 100% where he was going, but I know he was still 3D CAD, 3D design. I heard some people say that he was going into like making artificial like knees and stuff, but that could just be rumor. I don't know. I've only Jason a few times. I go up to Oregon when Squirrel Fest was happening. Bo was having those events. That's where I would see Jason about once a year. We'd chit chat a little bit. His kids were into 3D design and 3D printing. He started doing his own thing, and his retail side of the scale hobby stuff started dwindling out a little bit. And
he got into the one-to-one stuff though, didn't he? I've seen him flexing photos of his like full-size FJ for a while.
He's great at what he does. He's a great 3D designer. He's really good at replicating real items to a T. I always tell people my items are more of a generic item, and they're all a SBC product. So like I have some people ask, well, why do you put your logos in most everything? And I'm like, because it's an SBC product. And they're like, well, can you take it out? And I always tell them, does Coleman take their name off their ice chest or their camp stove? No, they don't. I was like, so that's just what it is. Not everything of mine has a logo in it, but it's not to that level of super scale. Like if you want to talk about people top right now, you got Knights, James Knight. He's at the top of the game as far as realistic goes, and he's made the jump to exclusive download files type of deal where if you have a printer, which they're readily available for very inexpensive now to get a good grade printer, you can buy his files and you can print those things yourself in-house. That is a transition that a lot of people have asked if I'm going to go to, and I've thought about it. And the only way that I would go to it is I would still keep my retail line of my products, which are still kind of toyish. They don't take super long to print. I like to do the turn and burn, easy print. I print them like models. So I print pieces like a toolbox will be the body of the box, the face of the drawers, and the handle. I'll detail the drawers, I'll glue them into the box, I'll glue the handle on. You get texture, you get contrast in colors, and it's simple. So there's a lot of assembly behind my products, and off to my right, I have a bin organizer with hundreds, if not thousands of pieces in it to build parts. And most of my stuff is built to order now, just to keep the turnaround time down. I just try to keep pieces on hand.
Now, Chris, with the simplicity of what you're doing, is it your vision then for the customer to then take it and make it their own? You go, once you buy my product in the store, you take it home and you add the weathering, you add the chips and all the detail if you want to. Is that where you're at in your head when you see these go home?
I've seen some people take like my fluid bottles and stuff and weather them and make them look a lot more real. My big thing is the market that I'm looking at is the person that doesn't want to spend lots of money on a scale item, but doesn't want to cheap out and buy some Walmart toys. Okay. They want a little more detail to it, but my market is to hit right in the middle where most everyone can afford a Scalebychris item. There's something for everyone out there.
And the one thing we talk about with James Knight is sometimes his files are not for everyone either. Some of his files are pretty labor intensive. And if you're dealing with 90% of the RC community and these guys on the weekend with a family and a full-time job, they don't have 15, 20 extra hours to cut a body up and mount and do an interior and go to that detail. So here seems to be a path with what you're offering to get to a level at a very reasonable price and pretty quick.
Yep. Well, and scale accessories, I mean, the economy's showing it right now. People might still be building RC cars, but scale accessories aren't needed to be in this hobby. They're only for the true enthusiast that wants to take it to the next step. And to take a baby step is to buy an inexpensive product. Not necessarily cheap, still quality product, but inexpensive, because I try to hit that mark. I'm kind of a cheap person myself when it comes to things. I will hunt for prices. I will look for a good deal. I'm a sucker for a good deal. So when I 3D design something, I take into consideration how long it takes to print, the material cost that it took to print that. Plus you have packaging when it comes to retail, stickers, assembly time. But after I'm done with the product, I'll actually hold it up and look at it and go, well, what would I pay for this? And being very cheap, I'm usually like $7 to $10 is about max of what I want. And then I just bump that up to a retail pricing because I'm obviously not going to make that on a retail sale, and meet it in the middle type of deal. So some of my products retail are a little higher than some people would like to pay. But another thing is I've never raised my prices. I've been in business for 7-8 years. I've never had a price increase in all of the years that I've been doing business. My prices have stayed across the board the same. I've come to the point where now I'm starting to price things a little lower because I know that I can engineer them quicker to print to assemble type of deal. So I'm finding ways to cut time out versus cutting costs out. But it's still, I was just looking the other day, I have over 350 items in my product list if you take into consideration every color and every option.
Wow.
AIM carries probably 30 to 40% of that. If you go on their website, there are 10 solid pages if you search SBC of products available.
Peter, go ahead and pull his page up here a moment while he's talking. I want to surf around here.
All right.
Go ahead, Chris. You can keep talking while he's navigating.
So a lot of stuff's out there. I'd also like to take this time to say that my products are mostly or exclusively only available direct through myself. I do minimal direct sales. Most of the other stuff that you're going to find is amainhobbies.com. 100% reliable website, super fast shipping. I tell people 99% of my products go to AMain Hobbies. I work for AMain. I don't do very many direct deals. Some people would rather deal direct. I don't talk pricing as far as direct or retail because retail is always going to be a little more. If you reach out to me and want to do a direct order, I can do that. I just tell people that give me a week, maybe 2, just because all of everything else in life, like I said, I hold a full-time job now. I still work 8 hours a day, 80 hours a pay period.
Can you say what your full-time job is? I'm just curious.
So I work
classified.
Work for a body shop that's literally across the train tracks from my house, about 3 minutes away.
Nice.
For an awesome boss. He's only 2 years older than me. We click very well. It's just him and I. A couple other guys that come in and help part-time sometimes. We used to do a lot of insurance work. Insurance is very stupid work to do because insurance companies don't like to pay. So we do a lot of wholesale work for the dealerships. So like they buy used cars, they need them repaired, they bring them to our shop if it's too intensive for somebody on site to do it. And we do a lot of that work. We also do a lot of restoration work at the shop. So like we bought a plasma cutting table, which uses Fusion 360. So that's when I started dabbling back in Fusion 360 and really watching YouTube videos. I tell people, if you want to learn something and it's been out there for a while, YouTube it. There's hundreds of videos on how I'm a self-taught person in a lot of the ways, but if I can watch somebody do something, I can learn it 10 times faster.
Have you ever noticed any issue? I mean, that's a great tip, Chris, but the only issue I had with that, I tried to learn Fusion 360 through YouTube, but it seemed to be when I was going to watch it, I was like 2 software upgrades in front of what they were doing. And when they were like in step 1, clicking in this area of the screen, I'm like, that button is literally not there. I was getting lost right out of the gate.
Right. I've ran into that quite a few times with like Fusion 360 stuff. But then it also goes to just a good old fashioned Google.
Okay.
I mean, you're still teaching yourself, but you're still having to research it, especially when it comes to software differences as far as upgrades or updates. Like I was trying to manufacture a part that we were going to cut out. It was basically just a simple plate that I was designing for an air pump for an air ride system to go on. And one of the workers drew out the item, and I watched a video on how to take a picture of it and then turn it into a 3D file if you knew the scale of what the length of a item was, and then turn a manufactured part to plasma cut. A lot of the steps in that were a little different than my software. So I had to do a little digging as far as Googling, Fusion 360, this versus that. And then once you do it a couple times, you start to get the grasp of it. Just a little hunting and searching on it sometimes, just clicking menus and seeing, oh, okay, well, they moved it over here. or it's 2 steps ahead of what they have to do now. So it's easier type of deal. So sometimes YouTube can help. It'll get you a grasp on something to get you started. But still sometimes some reading is involved as far as if you're going to self-teach yourself with something. With Fusion 360, their website is great for tutorials. Like they have, I don't even know, pages and pages and pages of readable tutorials with pictures and videos on how to use their software. And I went through about 10 of them and then realized, okay, I'm going to jump to like step 200 because this is getting boring. I need the logistics behind it, actually creating an item, not the tool paths and how to get from one spot to another. Like the basics, they really beat those into you. But if you have a little bit of a background on 3D, you can jump a little further into it. So there's a lot of good reading out there direct from the company type of deal.
Fair enough. Very good tip. And I'm curious to know, have you, I love the old boom box there. That's sick. That's sick.
Cool.
Have you embraced, this question leads up to, we'll start it first with a compliment. And I think you touched on this in your intro. You were able to get the new releases quickly. When the VS410 Origin came out, you were able to have that and start offering product directly for the new releases. And that seems to be the path that you've been on. Gatekeepers and different trucks that as they drop, you seem to have product readily available for them. Have you embraced the micro scene just in the same fashion? Because 2022 is going to go down in history as the year of the micro. Have you embraced the micro scene as well?
So just recently I've been having, because FMS is releasing a bunch of 18th scale stuff. So I've got a lot of people wanting stuff for that now.
Yes.
I sold some 24th scale stuff because I make a lot of 24th scale. Because when we were in the heyday of COVID and everyone was stuck at home, everyone seemed to be buying an SCX 24. They had that market on lock. They were making multiple models of it, and it was super cheap to buy one.
Dude, seriously, people's YouTube channels have blown up and Instagrams have blown up all because of an SCX 24. And it was all pre-COVID. COVID came along, bought my first RC car. What was it? SCX 24. So yeah, is there a big difference between 18th and 24th in a scale accessory? I mean, it seems like an awful lot of work and pretty material. I mean, I would almost feel like it falls within a margin of a close one scale eye and you can fake it just enough. I mean, is it that big of a deal?
It is a little small for the product. The guy that I just recently talked to, I sent him to amaandhobbies.com. Said, check out all the stuff. Just type in SBC 24 and you'll get a good amount of items there. With those items, I sell them and I try to do 3 per pack and I try to keep them in the $7 to $10 range for all of those items type of deal. I simplify them for my 1/10 and I found that I could literally take my whole 1/10 scale and just cut it in half in slicing software and it's perfect size.
Nice.
So I had a guy that had, I think it was like the 6-wheel FMS 18th scale or a modified one. And then he built a power wagon body for it, made a bed and was wanting some 18th scale stuff. And that's the one. That's the platform he started with. So he started that and he made a full custom build out of it, custom bedsides, everything. And I was like, well, try some 24 scale stuff. I think it's really close in size. And he ordered, I think it was the chainsaw fuel jug kit. And he put it in the back and it was relatively close. Like if you weren't super attentive to the scale of it and you were just looking for some looks for it, it would work great. It's about 10% off on size. The 24 scale stuff is quite a bit smaller than an 18th scale. And FMS is about the only company that I know that's going pretty hard on 18th scale. Because I know from one
the TRX, but the TRX 4M now is almost in that same bracket, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but I mean, when you talk Traxxas to FMS scale, their scales are different.
They are.
got to hit like that medium of in betweens. So I own like 7 24 scales, maybe 8, because I have the FMS FCX 24, the Power Wagon.
Yep.
Intentionally bought that because I was going to make a Power Wagon bed for it. I was going to make some scale accessories for it. Just haven't gotten around to it.
Do it.
I know there's actually files out there. People have printers. You can go out and find files to download and print yourself.
But they don't say SBC on it.
True. I have hardcore supporters that always just sitting around waiting for me to do things. But I have 2 elements. They're very, very similar in Axial's SCX 24th scale.
Yeah.
And minor SCX 24s. So if you actually look at my products on AMain's website, they all say for SCX 24, because I know without a doubt those fit those items scale wise. Because then you talk from one company to another, the scales get a little jumbled as far as, because everyone scale item tries to make it proportionally right, and it depends on what rig you're making to make it proportionally right. Like a good example is Element just released the
Bushido.
Yeah, they don't want you to say samurai.
Yep.
But its scale is like 8th scale. But I think to fit on their platform, on their chassis, with their wheelbases, even shortened, they had to exaggerate that scale and still call it a 10th scale to make it look proportionally right. So still the 10th scale stuff works in that, but is it a little small if you have a keen eye for scale? Yes.
But it's still
market. Yeah. But people have been asking for one forever. People have been wanting a samurai. You know, you got your Jeep fans, you got your Toyota fans, you got your full-size fans, and then there's that select few people who love a samurai. And I've had guys that walked all around everything else because they're so small. So the scales from one company to another is hard to keep up with.
And we could sit here and debate that for hours, because we're going to say RC four-wheel drives, TF2 is a little small, the Axial old school Bronco was a little big, the FMS Michigan's a little big. Like you bring up a very good point though with the Bushido. People have referenced how big the body is on the Bushido. But standing alone by itself, proportionally, I mean, it's a sexy samurai. I dig it.
We needed
I'm loving the variety of micro and all the stuff you have here. Very creative, and there's a lot of originality in here. I mean, down to a camera, the poop on a bucket. There's so many cool things that you've been able to put together here, Chris. It's very impressive.
So this is a big seller. There's
Go back to the big screen now. Let's go look at Chris here. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have one of those in real life. I take that off-road.
But it brings a chuckle, and if you don't have that in the back of a truck bed, you're failing.
Right. I've made some items out of spite. Like I got into a little TIFF, which
Did you do the tissue box at one point?
Yep. I had
I remember that
disagreements with somebody.
Oh, I remember.
Out of that, I created a tissue box and I put a little tissue in it, and I for all of those crybabies out there.
For the snowflakes, we got your tissue box.
Yep. I have products for everyone, even my haters, and I made that tissue box, and then I rubbed it in that person's face that, hey, look, I just made these, and they're like, oh, that's not gonna. I think I made a couple $100 that month off of those tissue boxes because everyone, which now, if you think about it, with Red Cat's lowriders, those Impalas used to come with the tissue box option, and it came on the floorboard. And it's a very rare thing if you are restoring an Impala to get that tissue box.
Now it's selling out of a necessity and not so much a joke.
Right. So yeah, out of spite, I've made some things like the bumper dumpers I made out of just a joke, because someone's like, hey, you need to make one of these, and I did it, and everyone was like, oh, I just blew up on my page. So I was like, turned it into production. It used the buckets that I already made. I just take the handles off and glue the little toilet seat to it, and yeah, it's pretty crazy the amount of items that are out there. And I will say, within the last year, I've bought myself a 3rd gen Toyota Tacoma, and I've really jumped into the overland industry, and that has opened my eyes up to so many more products that are out there that no one's making right now.
It's true. And I found this reference I went to a magazine store that sold old magazines, like back issues, bought a couple of them up cheap, but they focused on the one-to-one overland scene. And bro, you can sort through this magazine and find tons of ideas out there. And now being you submerged into it, yeah, it's got to open your eyes to cool new things.
Well, I went to SEMA, I think it was 4 years ago, basically for work, with my boss, because he took his car there. And I went over and was looking at the 4-wheel drive industry in the booths, and oh my God, just the amount of stuff that is out there that not just your regular and off-road enthusiast knows about, and all those products that aren't being made. The only person really jumping on all that is James Knight. I mean, he makes all the Pelican cases. He's making those rooftop tents. I believe he's got a couple that's Jason Hoy, who makes the side mount water sprayer.
That's what I was gonna say. After looking at some of Hoy's stuff, I have to go back and Google it. I'm like, what is this thing? Oh wow, it literally exists. I'm like, how cool is that?
So yeah, there's a lot of things that like I'm buying for my truck that I'm also designing for RC. Like I got my tried and true rig. I love this rig. This rig's been everywhere with me. Just recently, I made the little 5-pound propane tank.
Love it.
Also made a base for it, so it actually clips onto the cage.
Fantastic.
So that's a new item that I just came up with that is on my list of things that I want for my Tacoma for when we start camping out of it, because I've already bought the rooftop tent. I want to get the propane tank. I want to get a grill and stuff, because when I used to go to out-of-town events, I was doing a lot of hoteling.
Yep.
I'm gonna start camping. My son and I, my youngest, he loves RC. If I had enough batteries in this house and chargers, I could keep him running 24/7.
Wow.
Keep up on the parts, because he likes to break stuff. But him and I just take off and go to events. Now we can camp, make it a lot cheaper, a lot more enjoyable, because when you hotel it, usually you hang out all day and you get tired and you go back to the hotel. If you're at base camp, you just go back to your camp, chill for a little bit, and you can go back out for that night run type of deal. So being able to camp on site is going to be awesome.
Heck yeah.
And industry has opened my eyes a lot. A lot of people who are building RC cars now that are going over the top are doing overland style. So they're putting everything in it that they think they know they need, even the kitchen sink type of deal. So the market is continually growing, as well as the 4-wheel drive industry. As fast as it's growing, we're just trying to keep up with them.
And it's funny you say that, because I take my truck off road where I live in New York. I surf cast, and we go off road. And when the Gladiator came out, these people putting these overland setups, like, you're not even joking. They put the kitchen sink, like these people, they have stuff coming off the sides, like stuff they're never going to use. Never going to use. You're airing down to go surf cast, and these people look like they're set up for war. I mean, thousands of dollars. I asked this guy how much he paid, over $100,000 for this Gladiator, lifted, the bars on the side, the roto packs, like he's going to, the world's going to end. This guy's ready. I said, when the world ends, I'm coming with you. The tent that pops up. I'm like, cool. where you going with this thing? You're going fishing. You're not going to,
Love it.
It's become almost a look.
Absolutely. You got to be the guy in the parking lot that they're turning their head to check out.
Yep. Yeah. There's memes that go around talking about, hey, I got this tent. I use it twice a year, but I roll it 12 out of the year. And it's so cool. I know. I just it.
And you know how much those things go for? Like the Thule, the pop-up tents, they go for like $4,000. Like, I'm like, when are you going to use this stuff, man? We're in Long Island, New York. We're not in the desert.
We got the people down in like
the Hammers. I mean,
same thing. They're putting all the light bars and the winches and the recovery gear and the tents, and they don't use it. It's mall crawling, but it's like
cool
on another level.
like a guy with 5 roto packs with
Money to burn.
gasoline in it. Like, when are you going to use this?
I
So,
got a selfish question. How about the TRX 4M? Chris, do you personally own a
Mike loves this
TRX?
truck, man. Loves this.
TRX 4M?
I do not. That's one I've had a couple people ask.
You need to own a TRX 4M so we can start the Defender Overland.
Okay, I'll put it on my list. Like,
A camel trophy truck.
I don't have one of those.
You know what I mean? Like you never owned a camel trophy truck at all? You never did a Defender style or no?
No, I've thought about it. Especially when there were big groups of them at RC events that would have their own little night crawl with them. I thought, hey, I want to be inclusive. I can build one of those, and just never jumped into it, really.
Oh, there's a whole militia of camel.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
they're cult. You got to be accepted into those groups.
But I'm telling you, man, it's a whole platform. And I already got started on it. I got the camel trophy truck decal on the side, but nothing else. I mean, it needs the rotor packs in the side. I mean, there's a whole clean slate here for you to like get crazy with it and call me when you're done.
Is that 18th scale?
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, it
looks pretty big.
It's big. It's the Traxxas TRX 4M. It's a scale up from the micro. I mean, here.
Our scales aren't very big, as you can see.
SCX 24 next to it.
Tiny. Oh yeah.
There's a difference.
So yeah.
He's trying to get me to get one of those. You know, I'm trying to hold out, but.
Well, and that's my thing. I have a lot of people always asking, inquiring on stuff. And like I said, I'm a hands-on guy. I need to have it in my hands to know without a doubt, 100%, it's going to look good in scale and it's going to look good on the rig. So there's probably 5 or 6 RC cars that I've purchased or just bodies. Like I just purchased another RC 4-wheel drive Blazer body just to have them on hand so that I can build products for them. I've probably got somewhere in the numbers of 50 to 60 Proline bodies on hand, just so that I can have them for developing of new products.
Wow.
The drag car bodies, I tried to buy every Proline drag car out there just to make sure the things that I made for them fit. And then when someone wanted something for them, I could make something for them. Designing new items is what I like doing the most, but I have the least amount of time to do it. With having 300 plus products and A-Main carrying my products and them now having 2 warehouses, West Coast and East Coast. They got one in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Wow.
And in Chico, California. They are a monster to keep up with. The only time that you'll see me creating new products is if I buy a new rig and I want something myself and I procrastinate work to do that, or if orders slow down. When orders slow down, I'm proactive. I'm chomping at the bit. I'm looking for that next dollar. I'm creating new products, like the propane tank I did on my Power Wagon, the camping stoves that I make, the new multi-packs. I also make tool organizers. I just started making tool organizers for your desks. This one's the ProTech True Torque tools. So I bought all the tools just to make sure they fit and to show off that they all fit in there and they look nice when they're done. I make these in an MIP size for the like screwdriver orange handled ones. I just ordered and got Vanquish tools. So I'm going to make one for the Vanquish tools as well. Yep. Those are the MIP tools.
I have to get that.
Sizes. They have a small handle and a large handle. So I had to order all those to make sure that everything fit right. Cause I made one for a guy and he was kind of my test dummy because I didn't have the tools. And he said they fit great. So I ended up buying the tools and A-Main just started just eating those products up. So I knew that there was market there for there. So I started making more tool desk organizers for other tool options. And then like I was slow and then I made some new items and then I got super busy. Like for example, this order I'm working on right now for A-Main, They ordered 30 of the MIP organizers and 15 of the ProTech True Torque organizers.
Nice.
And one of those organizers takes between 6 and 8 hours to print. So we're talking hundreds of hours of print time there. A lot of people usually ask me, how do you keep up? I own 9 printers, one of which is a commercial grade printer that I talked to the guys at SEMA about and ended up purchasing one. I have 9 printers. 6 of them are usually running 24/7.
Wow.
I'll start them. I'll let them run. I'll wake up. I'll chip it off. I'll start them again. I'll let them run. I'll just keep the process going. 99.9% of my products are printed in ABS plastic. So they are more residual to the heat. They won't warp like the PLA. Your beginner printer person is going to print in PLA because it doesn't need an enclosure. It's super friendly as far as adhesion to the board. The only things I print in PLA, I print the clamps for the element gatekeeper that hold the panels inside. I print those in PLA because PLA is a little more rubberier and not brittle like ABS. And then I also print the Wraith empty tubs, just the tub insert with no walls, no accessories. Those are printed in PLA as well. But everything else is ABS. I've thought about venturing out. I've tried some PETG or PTEG that people call it. I wasn't real excited about how it printed. It takes some fine tuning. You got to have a real precise nozzle, and you got to really monitor heats with those, or else you get bad layer adhesion or a lot of stringing.
You need a printer set up specifically for it, 100%. But the cool thing is you get like bendable, like it is worth it. You can make window nets and things that are bendable, bumpers, they actually flex, but it is a pain in the ass because you got to set your printer all up for it, get it to bond, and people do not like it. And you lose a little detail with it. In my personal opinion, I don't think the details in PETG, but there is an upside to it.
Right. And the latest and the greatest is I've seen a lot of people jumping over to it. Everyone's like, why don't you do it? And I'm like, I'm busy enough as it is. Like I said, I hold a full-time job.
Bro, it's a whole new animal of slicing and support.
Well, not so much that, but it's the end product. When I chip something off my printer, it's ready to have something glued to it or painted, and it's done. With resin,
curing
up, you got to UV cure it. Sometimes you got to do an alcohol bath to get the rest of the resin off of them. Just they're blank. You can't switch colors as fast. Like an FDM printer, I can go from red to black like that.
For 99% of your files that you're doing, a resin isn't going to help you. The simplicity of them, unless you're going uber detail, I don't think you need to even go that way. I mean, there's plenty of guys doing engine bays that you want the resin to show that detail.
Right. Well, and like I said, my market, I mean, with the economy, as we all know, it's kind of dropping off. Everything's getting a little scary. Things are starting to dwindle out. People aren't buying new cars as much as fast. People aren't buying new RCs as much. And they are buying a new RC. They're probably not buying as many accessories for it like they used to. So I went from doing anywhere from 600 to 800 items. Keep in mind, those are glued together pieces, fully labeled products going out the door, to $200 to $400 or 200 to 400 items a month. So I've cut my industry in half, and I blame it mostly on the economy diving off. I'm still squeaking by. I'm paying my bills with it. I've kind of crutched on the extra income as far as paying some bills, buying some new toys type of deal. Like my Tacoma's paid through the business. We have a toy hauler that we use for all of our events. When we travel for big events, that's paid through the business. Another thing that people don't know a lot of, all of my 24th scale, literally 90% of the 24th scale items that leave this house, my wife is actually the one that details those and builds all those. That was part of our agreements, and she took a little bit of a pay cut to go to a different job. At first, she was just going to start running my business from home, and I was just going to keep her up to date on printing things and building things. And then she had a job opportunity to go work at our kids' school. And I was like, go for it. I was like, if that's what you want to do it. And with the pay cut, I was like, you're going to have to work a little bit though.
Get
So
your side hustle on, girl. Earn your keep.
Well, and not only does she help me with my products, but she has her own little side business going too. She does die cut stickers. She does heat transfer vinyl. She made my shirt with my logos on it. I got the logo on the side. She does cups. She's very crafty. So I know it was turnkey for her to build the little items, and the little items are a little more time consuming because they're more finicky as far as having little hands. They're not little hands, but little details to do them.
Sure.
So at one point, the 24th scale stuff was half of my orders. It literally doubled my orders overnight. And we're talking in the height of COVID because everyone was staying indoors and the 24th scale stuff was blowing up.
Micros have taken over, Chris. It is the year of the micro.
Well, and I remember back, I don't know, this was probably 8 years ago, when the mini T, the Lozy mini T was out, and then Associated RC18 was out, and the little 18th scale fast stuff was going. I thought that was the coolest thing. First thing I did was bought myself a 4-wheel drive one, and then I bought some aluminum wheels, and then I bought a body for it, and then I bought a brushless system for it. It was like, okay, this little truck costs as much as one of my big trucks now.
Seriously, it's no joke. Chris, we're going to put you on the spot here. This is going to be a trick question. You pass, say nay if you don't want to do it. This is something we did not discuss earlier behind the scenes, but we're going over our time limit now. This is the time when we say goodbye to you, and never goodbye for long. This is a see you later, because we hope you come back with us again. 2023, we would love to have you back again, sitting across from us anytime you want. The seat's yours. But it is Christmas time. Do you use promo codes or do any offer specials? Is there anything you could group together special if somebody's watching the Rad Show today and they want to take a sample dive into what Scalebychris offers? Is there a bundle, a package? Is there anything you can think of that they could say to you, hey, I was watching the Rad Show, and you can offer up? I know we're making a shoot from the hip here.
So I don't do any direct promo codes or any discounts. I leave that up to the retailers because, like I said, 99% of my products are going to A-Main. They got killer deals going all the time. If you subscribe to their newsletter, they're giving out discounts, 10, 15, 20% off. Sometimes in the holiday season, they're giving a lot off.
Okay.
If you see on A-Main, they do run product discounts on items that aren't as hot. So like if you're looking for like a blazer top for your SCX24, I know they got them discounted down pretty heavily right now.
Perfect.
As far as if you want to order direct through me, I do PayPal or Venmo. I'm quite a bit slower than the retailers, obviously, because I'm keeping up with them. My shipping prices can't compete with the retailers. But if you put together a fairly larger order type of deal, I always roll those discounts over as bundles type of deal. But 99% of the time, I'm telling people, go buy from amainhobbies.com. They have everything in stock. That's a 100% secure place to buy from. I would like to take this time to say that somebody has created a scalebychris.com website, and that is 100% a scam website. Do not order from them. 2 places, amainhobbies.com or direct through me through Messenger. You can reach me on my Facebook, and your local hobby shops. I always tell people, support your local hobby shops. AMain sells to all brick and mortar shops. Go support your local hobby shops. And if they don't carry SBC, tell all your friends to go in there and ask, hey, why aren't you carrying it? I bet they'll carry it after that.
Awesome.
That is fantastic. We need to have you come back again, because that's a horrible story about a Scalebychris mock dummy site. So remember that, people. Do not go to the Scalebychris website. AMain, hit him up privately. Chris, we can't thank you enough. I learned
Yeah,
so
thank
much
you.
tonight. We love supporting the mom and pops, and you are on the grind, buddy. Working hard and putting out some cool stuff. We wish nothing but the best for you this new year. And Merry Christmas to your family, to your wife, and everyone helping you. Thank you.
Well, thanks, guys, and Merry Christmas to you guys as well.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. We'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, sounds good.
I'm ready to do some shopping, Mike,
Seriously.
man. After seeing those products on eBay, man, as I was going through them, I saw at least 20 things that I could throw in the cart.
I seen your cursor sliding over some of the things you were
Dude.
eyeballing there, and bro, like all the way down to the chainsaw hard case.
Yeah.
Put the chainsaw out. I mean, like I never saw that anywhere else before.
Yeah, that's great stuff, man.
Yeah,
Really well
very
thought out.
cool. I love how he compressed everything down in the micro size. And like you said, you know, the pricing's fair, very reasonable. He's bundled stuff together for me before in the past. I did my Gatekeeper all in Scalebychris stuff. And his stuff's very distinctive. You can spot it when you walk into a hobby shop, just like how he was talking between. You can just see the difference in what he's doing in the bold colors and how it's all but packaged right. So good job, Scalebychris. Keep killing it. He's been around a long time. And we wish you a very long future in the RC hobby. 100%. Thank you. So Pete, we are well over our guided, our normal timeline here, but the things we need to talk about here tonight, Pete, we need to extend it. It's worth it. I think we need to talk about it.
Don't go nowhere. Anybody that's watching.
Yeah, this is awesome.
It's Saturday night, man.
Now this is, I'm going to literally, so for the people that are running this show throughout the week that got us on the radios, they're driving to work or just in the background as you're tinkering around by your workbench. This is the time when you look back over at your screen. This is going to be the show and tell time where we're literally holding stuff up at the screen. So it's a little bit more than a podcast. This is your Joe Rogan show where you want to watch us a little bit here, but not so much us, but want to try and hold up at the screen because it is that cool. It's in the details, bro. It like how me and you were like texting each other back and forth, like, bro, wait till you see this. Like the details. Gee, it is that good. It's model kind of stuff. Like literally, I'm geeking out like a kid when I was playing with my little army men when I was younger. There's so much cool detail. Now it's going to get mixed up here a little bit because yes, full disclosure, some of the things that we're going to be showing have been out for a year plus. FMS has been making, you know what, Pete, do you have anything else you want to talk about before we begin and end on FMS? There is something I want to show here from Team DC is what I want.
No, I think we're good. I mean, we could start, you know, we could flip flop, start with the 12 scale. And
okay, perfect. Let's start with the 12 scale.
All right. So,
all right.
So like Mike was saying, you know, this stuff that we're showing here has been out, you know, a lot of people, I posted, you know, a teaser and, you know, some guy posted and he said, you know, this has been on Amazon for a long time. But it's the accessories, you know, and when Mike and I got these trucks, we were blown away, like Mike said. I mean, when you look at the detail and if you're following FMS, the stuff they're dropping, stuff they have available is just hands down super detailed. So this is the 12 scale. Some people saw me post it today. You look at the detail of this. This is the smaller scale of the 6 scale, but shrunken down. This is the option, the top on it. We put the top on. But when you look at the detail of this, super scale, small size, they really killed it with this one. Just a really neat truck. You know, the stuff on the sides, the front grille, you know, just a super truck. I mean, FMS really killed it. And you got the lights going there. Just a really cool
turn signal. Steering wheel.
Oh, I didn't even start it yet. So the steering wheel moves like all their signature.
Bro, this thing, I've been out wheeling this thing in the backyard. This thing, like the turn signals, the steering wheel's going. I mean, this thing, The brake lights work.
Wow.
I mean, it's that level of detail you feel in the seats, and not to mention the cool little remote. When it's in the dark, it looks like a pit viper. Like these
Yeah, a
huge
couple of
big
those
lights.
remotes I have with the lights. Yeah.
The Roc Hobby pit viper. Like, I love the look of it.
It's definitely a cool little truck. I mean, FMS has just been dropping stuff like, a lot, and
Pete, you've got the canopy on there
yeah.
already. You've got your canopy on. I didn't even install the canopy yet. But one of the other cool things is, did you get to the gun yet?
No.
Okay, so now I'm a little confused, and I think there's been some confusion how long this gun has been out. But there is a receiver. Like, FMS knew that they were going to do this. There's a receiver in the center there between the seats, where you can stab this gun. And I mean, just when you witness the detail and the packaging of what they do. Pete, do you have your wooden case nearby by any chance?
Yeah.
Or the 12 scale came in? So when you get an FMS truck, they come in these foam cases, right? Now theirs is marked like a crate, literally like a military crate, stenciled and all. Very cool. Now, the ammo box, I'll try and hold it up here with the bullets and the detail in the machine gun in this, like, I guess this is I'm an Army guy and I'm still like saying guess. This is what I would call a 50 cal, if I remember correctly, doing this one Monday night. I remember like 18 years old thinking Monday Night Football's going on right now. It's 9 o'clock at night and I'm out here on a 50 cal, like shooting down range, blowing up tanks and shit, watching tracer bullets go. Like, this thing brings back memories, but that dual handle
Super
signature
detail.
look, I mean, it's so cool. Now this is 12 scale. Wait until we get to the 6 scale stuff, when you blow all this stuff up and the level of detail that they work into this. So again, some of these things have been around for a year, year and a half, almost 2 years, that we're not breaking the internet tonight on what is new yet.
And then you, like you said,
I might even do my first install right now if this works. So I'm installing the gun as we speak, people.
Now look at the difference. So you got the 12.
Oh Jesus! There. All right, you went right to the big gun.
Oh Jesus!
All right, so we went right for the big gun. Yeah. So let me put this thing away. So yeah, Pete, like, you got the canopy on there already. Did you put the trailer hitch on the back of your bumper yet? Is that go right now? Hold the get the bumper there. So there's a receiver area then if you want to hook a trailer
It's actually
up.
already on the truck.
That was on there already.
Yeah.
So the one I have, hang on a second.
This thing's heavy too.
Where it was. Oh, here it is. I have a 1/6 scale metal scaler hook. So you're saying you didn't need to install that hook?
No.
No.
Maybe
So
put it on the mash again.
it's going on the mash again.
Yeah,
So now the mash
install it on the mash
trailer.
again.
Well, I'm going to now on my mash again. Most people are going to put the trailer, but on my mash again, I'm going to put the anti-tank gun.
And even the trailer. I mean.
So you can put the trailer on your mash again. I'm gonna hook up the anti-tank gun on my mash again.
I'll let you. Is yours installed?
No, I didn't even put my anti-tank gun together yet.
Look at this thing. Look at this thing.
All right. Thank you. All right. So
this thing's unreal.
Now, what this thing is, this is their new anti-tank gun, right? And what's so cool about their anti-tank gun is the level of detail and down to the precision of it working like the real anti-tank gun. When you yawn up and down, it functions like the real thing. Like, you could put submerge yourself back into that era and work it like the real anti-tank gun. I mean,
there's a steering wheel in here. I mean,
for all the model people out there that can appreciate a diorama scene, imagine like some serious super dope YouTube content now. with the right filtering, we can make like little movies. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll stage a scene over here on my end. We'll have war games. Like I'll pretend like I'm battling you in a different video. So Pete, we'll go until you sink my battleship. I'll tell you what I'm aiming for over at your little setup. My first missile's aiming at the tent that you set up, or we could really do some very creative content with the amount of detail
and the
FMS
level
or Roc Hobbies putting this stuff.
like you said, the level of detail, even in the 6, I mean, when you look at this, I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, it's
Removable
great
scale
job.
accessories, the axe, the shovel, like all that stuff is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm doing an unboxing here right now as we speak without a razor blade. This is my guerrilla style unboxing, manhandling it open. What Pete had in there was this action figure. Your driver is this guy right here.
Yeah.
So I've been disclosing to a few people right now that are all playing with their 6 scale FMS Roc Hobby Army trucks what to get. And I think
Just don't take them out of the box. My kids found out that he's not clothed.
Oh, is he? He's naked like my snowboarder.
Yeah.
Oh,
my kids pulled it out of the box and said, "Why is there no clothes on him?"
Dude, this is like XXX like rated video right now. Forget that this one's not getting monetized now.
You gotta put the clothes on it too.
They do come with the choking hazard. Warning for us adults that run with scissors still. These things are choking hazards, but these are
click and
literally
play though.
3 plus click and play. They got some very cool stuff. I bought the snowboarder guy. He ended up he was going to go into MASH again. So that's where the math like really hurts my brain, is that, if he fits in if this is the driver for the Jeep, for this Army Jeep, why does he not fit in the MASH again? That's when my head starts to hurt. Like, why is it didn't fit? This is not the size driver for your MASH.
So what did you say you need? An 8?
9. 5, yeah, 9.
I think I saw RC Attic has he just came out with a 9.
Yes, and size matters. So you need a 9-incher. All right. So these guys don't fit in your Michigan, but these are like the right style. Like they look so clean. They go with the era of that Jeep and that like World War II era
well,
look.
even like the Jimmy I have, that's a click and play also. It fits perfect. That's why I don't,
and they got a whole bunch of different styles. Like you were pointing out, like the special forces guy. There's a skateboarder dude. I got the snowboarder. There's like a whole bunch of them. So like I'm geeking out over a toy that's like 3 plus. Like literally, this is for like toddler kind of stuff. But there is some very cool adult details.
And it's available on Amazon. Just type in click and play. And,
under $20.
They got some cool stuff, man.
So I dare you, under the click and play stuff, when we're talking 12 scale, like there's full diorama scenes, like bridges.
I saw the army scenes. They're cool.
Uh-oh. I just bumped the button. I thought for sure I was going to knock the microphone out. But yeah, dude, you can do the full-blown scene, the bridge and the tent. You can set up a camping area. There is so much cool stuff that you can do. I'm glad you got to that anti-tank gun, right? Now, do you have the 1/6 scale gun near you at all? So this is the same as the machine gun now in the 6 scale.
Yeah.
The 6 scale version of it there. And now, do you feel the box, bro? It's magnetized.
Yeah.
There's a magnet in the box. Like that's the packaging of these things. It's ridiculous. Literally magnetic shut. And it just blew me away. And there's there's detail in them. That's not just like a single color, right out of a I don't know what type of printing they're doing here. This is probably some type of an injection molded plastic. I mean, there's some very cool details put into these things. But there's detail paint put onto them. They're textured and there's a shine to it. They're very, very, very cool.
Yeah, this is some detailed stuff, man.
So when here's the box, just prove to you magnet, click right on the let drop and click shut. Like, why on earth do you need that in a box? But I'm going to tell you now, I'm not getting rid of these boxes, bro. I'm literally keeping them for something. But yeah, if you can look at the bullets and the gun itself, something's beeping over here. I don't know what the hell I hit. I don't know, something's beeping. I did something. Some battery's wearing out or something.
But yeah, they did a great job. FMS, I mean, you know, like even like we were talking about the Smasher, you know, I know we got our hands on it, but like, you know, we dropped the high speed motor. Mike, you dropped the high speed motor. I mean, you know, it's like night and day. You know, this thing does backflips. I mean, with the high speed motor installed. Yeah, FMS is just really pumping out some scale stuff. 2023 is going to be a good year for FMS. They really, Mike, they really closed this year out strong. I mean, you look at all these RC companies. I mean, FMS really killed it this year. From USTE when we went in February to now, FMS like dominate. I feel like they dominated. I mean, they were dropping trucks. The FCX 24 was such a hit, man. I mean, it was like huge. People are still buying them. I mean, you know, and then the FJ, and then, ah,
100%. And I think the nail in the coffin had to be bringing a monster truck into the micro game. I mean,
yeah,
they
yours
closed
looks
them.
great with those trail parts. I got to install mine.
Yeah,
The
and
red looks
I've
sexy.
got a couple more yet, you know, more accent pieces up front, change the servo. I'm gonna wait until this servo kicks the bucket, and then I'll drop in a Powerhobby one. I wanted to remind Scalebychris, and Chris, if you're still watching, we're gonna get you some Powerhobby tools so that you'll be able to use them for mock-up. You got to make sure that the Powerhobby, the top of the line Powerhobby tool set will fit in one of your stands. I'm telling you. Hit me up later on, Chris. We'll make sure that we get you this tool set that you can use for mock-up. And I'd love to have my Powerhobby tool set on display like that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no doubt FMS is on fire. You know, and it's very cool to take a truck that's been out a year, year and a half, maybe 2+ years. I mean, the Willys Jeep has been around for in the Roc Hobby portfolio for a long time. But what do? You bring new accessories on board for it. And like that anti-tank gun, when you open that thing up out of the box and you've got yours together tomorrow, I hope to do a whole video of me assembling it. But it's like a model. And I read the instruction manual on the thing, and they're like, they spent so much time down to the level of detail trying to make it function just like the real thing. And you know,
It's like a whole nother hobby. I mean, when you're installing it, it's like you're not even doing RC anymore.
Seriously.
It's just a total different level. And when you put it all together and you get it outside on the trails or out in your backyard, you could do so much with it. I mean, the video content, I mean, I'm going to try to shoot some videos tomorrow. But yeah, FMS did a great job this year, hands down. I mean, definitely. So you do have the clear body.
I got a clear body for the Bushido. We're not allowed to say.
But did you have a white one when you showed it before? You have two bodies?
Yeah, my Bushido was broken. It came with two bodies, like literally stacked on top of each other, sandwiched
the
together.
White and the clear.
It came with a white and a clear. It was all sandwiched in a box, like filled with goodies from they knew where this Bushido was going. This one came like the back doorway. It was very special to open it up and find the extras that they left. But Brad knew how much time we put into all of Knight's files for this thing. So I'll get the drop bed in here, but to be able to get the precision holes where you need to mount the Knight's files, to do it off of a clear body is going to make it a lot easier. And
well,
luckily,
I'm sure you're happy you could make it your own now. Instead of the white, you could paint it whatever.
I really, you know, I keep thinking red. I hate to say it, but when I was younger, this kid in the neighborhood had a red one, a faded red look. I'm not saying that's where I'm going to go, but this red just keeps talking to me. I don't know why. And I already had detailed a lot of it in red. So I have a feeling you know, this body's got to go to Fishing Bill. He and I have been talking. I told Bill, I need you one more time, buddy.
Well, and you got those clear silver axles from Treal.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm taking them off that comp truck, man. Those
No.
things are dialed on that power
Yeah.
wagon. I'm not taking them away anytime soon. I did have something here. Where did I hide it? I was going to bring out Fishing Bill's step side. Oh, here it is. Hang on. We had Fishing Bill on last week, and I forget if I had a chance to really dive into like some of the things that he was talking about with the level of detail that he puts into his pinstriping. It's hard to see it here on screen, but hang on, let me grab the back side here. I mean, he really put some work into the pinstriping, the precision look of it. I mean, he really takes his time. I mean, it comes out very clean. I'm not sure if I'm going to add like my own little touch, a little weathering. I don't want to make it a rust bucket, but I think like in some of the corners and stuff, find some ways to give it a little aging. That's been in the Northeast for a little bit, through a couple of Northeast winters up there. You know what I'm talking about, Pete? The salt on the salt on the ground up here wreaks havoc on our trucks, man. If you don't have a truck from this era with a little bit of rust on it, it ain't screaming Northeast.
Yeah, he does great work, man.
The one thing,
The Team DC you got, right?
yeah, we got. I could do a whole like 1 hour episode on all the stuff that on this truck that comes from Team DC. When you start looking at like the hood vents there on the side piece, the back of it. If I do my best here to hold this, this is a functioning ladder. If you had a roof rack up here, hang on, I'm doing this one-handed. I'm gonna pull it out, and it's on a clip. So the ladder,
Cool.
actually functions, and it clips back in place. It's got a magnet. I'm doing this all one-handed here. All right, and it snaps right back in place. So that's the side mount there. Hinges up top here, that accent pieces on the for your window hinge there. Guards on the rear lights.
Wow.
On the sides. I'm opposite here. The side pieces here, these are their accent pieces. There's another one on the rear side. That is from Team DC. And then the magic moment, the new thing that we installed recently from them is the mirrors. The side mirrors from Traxxas come with just little stickers there on the side. These actually now light up, and the snorkel. Why that's so cool, you get 2 different options for the snorkel with that accent grill right there on the front of it. You can pick different accent plates that you mount on there, but it mounts pretty darn simple, like 5 screws, and now you got a snorkel for your Traxxas. Wow. So the TRX4, you know, of course, it's got its Treal accessories, wheels, all the good stuff from Traxxas, but the rest of the stuff is all, I'm sorry, I'm saying Traxxas, all the Treal parts, Treal wheels, Treal hopped up aluminum, brass, it's all mixed in here. But the electronics, I went with the Traxxas winch, Traxxas light kit. Very pleased how simple plug and play that is when you go with Traxxas. The Proline shocks, Proline tires, of course. But yeah, the TRX4, seriously, this is like one of my favorite trucks. This thing takes a beating. It's always reliable. Big fan. But Team DC, we put the link out there, and if you're looking for bolt-on accessories, they are a universal light kit. The mirrors are actually universal design. They come with extra parts so that you could put them on an SCX 10.3 Jeep. Wow. Just yeah, I didn't know that when we got it. When we went to do the install, we noticed like, wow, this is a universal design.
Yeah, they got some good stuff, Team DC, man. I checked out their website. Definitely good parts. Definitely.
Seriously, you know, they have some stuff, a lot of their stuff right now, they're going through a massive transition. Their website's not the easiest to navigate. They do a lot of stuff on Alibaba Express. And if you're used to navigating Alibaba, you can trust the site. The stuff does come relatively quick. But you can't go on Alibaba without discovering something from Team DC. They seem to make parts for a lot of other companies that it might have a different header card on it, but it's still coming from Team DC. You'll see ones say that IMDJ, the letter J, IMDJ. Again, Team DC is behind it. They're making the product. They make news. I have so much stuff from them over the years. I've been working with Team DC for many years, and they just got a lot of very cool options out there. And if you are a drift car guy, I'm telling you now, Tyler Slane, I'm talking to you, my drifting maniac now. Go check out Team DC. There's so many cool drift scene options out there. They've been making stuff for a long time, but like I said, the website's going through different transitions. Give them some time to get the stuff up, but they've been making stuff for FMS also. And even like for the Bronco and SCX 10.3, we could go and do a whole 1 hour show just on Team DC stuff.
Yeah, no, they got good stuff.
Pete, so I think I know I have a lot of work to do to get caught up to you. Glad that you were able to get everything assembled. Your overall opinion on the anti-tank gun is what?
It's hands down like one of the finest things, detail wise, model wise, that I own. I mean, comes in a big box. You know, the assembly time is less than 5 minutes, and once you have it together and put it behind the truck, it's just fantastic. It's just well made, realistic, that one-to-one feel. You know, it's the level of detail. Even the guns we were showing, I mean, they really did a great job. And the fact that you could take that little hook, and there's got to be a way to put it on the mash again. I mean, you definitely have a trailer option there.
Yeah, the Michigan's got the receiver in the back bumper already. That hook must be to be able to put that trailer on there. I would, if you're going to put it on the Michigan, I guess that trailer is going to see some paint time. Change the paint scheme.
Just match it to them. Yeah, they definitely. That would look cool. Put some dirt bikes on the back. I mean, you know, we'll have to do that tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, FMS is doing great, and you know, we'll post up like we always do tomorrow. I'll throw a post up, Scalebychris info, and you know, the FMS direct links and Team DC. Yeah, we throw that.
Have you ever seen these? I have 1/6 scale dirt bikes. I mean, the level of freaking detail. These things are huge. 1/6. I got 2 of them at a flea market. Somebody was selling them. I got a blue one and a white XR Honda. And like these things need to be in a trailer, like hauled behind the mash again. I bought them when I got the SCX6. That was like my original plan, like prop them up next to the SCX6. And that's like who we're talking to, Pete, is geeks like us that we're always on the hunt and the look, like trying to one up each other. On that note, I'm going to give a big shout out to Wayne, and help me if I get this right. Wayne RC World on Instagram. I don't know if I got it spelled out right. It's hard to navigate. So Wayne RC World, bro, if you're tuning in now, I brought my elf on the shelf tonight. I got Snoop Dogg sitting up there. That's Snoop on the stoop. He's here tonight to throw something in your face, but it's not even going to come close. Homeboy, Wayne's RC. If you don't know it. Go over, check out his Instagram page. His cat is killing it. He brings in an elf on the shelf, micro, like scale little elf on the shelf, super freaking creative. I had to go on Amazon right after and freaking order the thing. I'm like, you son of a gun. It was so good.
What, they sell a scale version?
Of it, dude, he's got a micro elf on the shelf. Like
I didn't know they sold that. I was
neither did I. I've always wanted to print one. I've always wanted to make one. My elf on the shelf is the guy from Elf, Will Ferrell, or the curly hair guy. He's a keychain. and it says elf on it. And I put it up on the wooden shelf in my scale garage, and I make my post every year, elf on the shelf. Did I do it right? Because that was the closest I could get. Check out Wayne RC's reels that he did this week, Pete. It's
Yeah,
gonna
they were
trip you
sick.
up. It
Yeah.
made me pee my pants laughing. It's that good.
Yeah, he's got some great content. All week long he's posting reels, and yeah, he's got good stuff. So
Hang on. I was trying to find something.
yeah, he's got good posts on all his builds out in the trails. Definitely check him out. Also, he's got some good content that he posts daily.
Well, because I was all excited because I thought I did something good this week. I've always had my little guy, my little Ralphie at Christmas time. I bring him out. And then what I found, I 3D printed a leg lamp a long time ago, my own version of a leg lamp. Dude, this thing doesn't even come close to the leg lamp you can get from Hallmark. This is a regular,
It's an ornament.
it's a Christmas ornament from Walmart. It's the Hallmark ornament. Somebody saw my leg lamp. They're like, where the hell did you get that leg lamp? I'm like, well, I 3D printed it. It's a file on Thingiverse. I printed it. I painted it. I've been rocking it for years. And next thing you know, I'm like, I'm just gonna go on Amazon and just see if they opened it up at all and fix it. But now I got the real stocking texture. It's a major award.
Or Geely.
Yeah, a statue. Yeah,
That's
you
good
kind
stuff,
of
man.
very erotic. Like it's hot, man. Like, so Ralphie and him stand in my garage. This is my flex back at you, Wayne RC. Like, that's all I got. Hands down, dog. Keep doing what you're doing. Those are the people we like to see in the hobby out there doing it. Any chance that we can get the Rad Show to send people your way, anybody's way, when we catch something that we dig. And I wore my Big Squid RC shirt tonight for a reason. So you know, I'm dressed to impress tonight. Proline is for you, Scalebychris. That was my nod back to him. And then my Big Squid RC shirt, like Superman. That is for everybody scaling Jeremy. If you see this cat today, I think it's on the actual Big Squid RC page today. It might be even up on their Facebook cover photo. He has his RC four-wheel drive Blazer loading a Christmas tree into the back of it. He sent me this thing today. I'm like, I dropped my phone. I'm like, I give up. Like, are you kidding me? That was hands down, like, love it. Great job, Jeremy, out there killing it with that. Like, that was a great freaking Christmas time photo with the tree. I mean, I got a Christmas tree in my garage. I've been putting Christmas trees in my scale garage for years. When you get it in the back of the freaking Blazer, like you were out in the woods cutting down the tree, like, he's got a great property where he's getting some super cool photos of it in the scene. It's really sharp. Good for him. Good job, Jeremy.
Yeah, that was cool, man.
Love you, man.
All right, so next week's Christmas, man. You know, we're gonna have to work around Christmas, and we'll be live next week. We'll have to pick a day where it doesn't interfere with the holiday, maybe Friday, but yeah, definitely.
One more chance to wear the Santa hat, Pete.
Yeah, yeah.
So what are you thinking? Next Saturday will be New Year's Eve. And the last thing, I'm gonna put you on the spot on this one, Peter. We need to get on the grind for our end of the year holiday show. I want to get 10, 12 guys all up in here. I'm not taking a page from the playbook from Cali Crawler at all, but I'm stealing a page from Cali Crawler 100%. Just don't tell him, just between me and you.
Yeah, I think when we get closer to the new year,
Yep.
you know, that weekend we'll work on PR and we'll work on contact and we'll discuss
We'll get everybody in. I'm not putting people in a position to bring anything. We're not giving anything away, nothing like that. I mean, if you want to do something, it's not that. It's more of a hangout. Just let them talk about what they want. Anything, open up
the stuff for the new year, what they're working on, bringing it going right into the new year. I think that would be a great show, you know, towards the new year. And next
week,
a
little chaotic.
Yeah, next week we'll be live again, and hope everybody has a good rest of the weekend. And like, share the show. Like I said earlier, we're about 315 subscribers, getting close to that 500
important. very, very important that we highly ask you all. What happens is, it takes a while for YouTube to catch up and get the algorithm for us to, take that next stride. But where we can do this is boots on the ground, grassroots growing. Take the page and share it. Literally, take the YouTube channel, share it to your Facebook, tell your friends, the more the merrier. We want, some place to come and hang on a Saturday. It's supposed to be fun.
And Mike, you were mentioning, going into the new year, we're working on some new merch. We're working on a lot of good things at Rad Show, and I remember our buddy CowRc, when we get the 1,000 follower mark, we got something. Remember, we were going to work on with him on that. So, once we get rid of, we're dying. I mean, I know the FCX is still hot, but
we got Jeff Johns put up a Rebel for 1,000. So we get to 1,000 mark. We got the Rebel, we got the CowRc, and the
CowRc is going to be,
very cool. You can't buy that. You can't buy that kind of cool stuff.
That's going to be a great giveaway.
Absolutely.
And then you got the Rebel. So, keep promoting, help us out, support the show. Like I said, we don't get paid. We do it for the love of the hobby, and, help us grow, just by sharing. And as we hit those increments, that you'll see the prizes go up, and, just to subscribe to get an FCX. I mean, easy contest. I mean, live drawing, pick a number, and it'll be mailed out.
Down, and it's yours. And shoot, like you keep saying, Pete, the longer it takes us to get to 500, we'll change it. We'll throw up, if you want a smasher, if FMS drops something new by then, our 500 mark, we can kick it up a notch. We'll make it enticing. I don't want to give something a year old out, then. But I mean, I don't even, how do we disclose it anymore? 500, we hit the 500 mark, we give it away, but we got to hold the line. I'm not bending. I'm not going to say 400. We hold the line for the 500 mark. So, hey, listen, it's the holiday season. 'Tis the season. I want everybody to enjoy this last week. This is the last week before Christmas. Get your holiday shopping done. Get your holiday videos in there right now with your kids. Sit down, watch Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. If you don't know, find it on Amazon Prime today. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Gather your little ones, gather around the couch, pop your popcorn, enjoy the holiday special. TNT, we got our Christmas story, 24 hours. Find the Christmas shows that are going to connect with your kids. You are making memories for a lifetime. So please remember, our message is always to you: family first. Always family first. Take the time, spend it with the kids. They grow up quick. Trust me.
All right. Great words, man. All right. We'll see everybody next week. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. We got some sun here tomorrow in the Northeast. Hopefully get out on the trails and make some content. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you, Chris.